What a go on, people? Me, man, Mr. B. And today I want to take on a topic. In fact, let me rephrase. I want to just put my hat in the ring as I um, give my, views on this whole issue of black men here in America who have come down hard on Barack Obama for a comment he made aimed at black men where he essentially is calling on black men to support Kamala Harris's candidacy for president. And of course, the whole talking head environment here in America is up in arms, and none more vocal than a pool of black, quote unquote, educated black men who are forming the talking points for those men who don't necessarily support Kamala Harris's candidacy. Now, let me um, to put the thing into context. It is my assessment that no other political environment is more complex than the American political environment. Granted, it is demarcated, the distinction between the Republicans and Democrats. That is essentially what the demarcation is. So essentially, it's a two political party dominant political ecosystem. And to add to the complexity is the whole question of race. The white population contributes some just over 64%, 64% of the American population. The black population just about 15 or 16%, but a major voting bloc. And then the Hispanics, which runs just about 17%, and then there are the others. Now, complex. The issue of race is predominant, and the race issue is essentially whites versus the black and browns. And then because everybody else mix up the black and brown. Racism is a essentially strong part of the fabric of American politics, and then there are the gender issues, and we want to take them on. But essentially, Barack Obama, in a conversation with a group of black men as he hit the trail hosting for Kamala Harris, addressed the issue of black men who it was felt were making excuses for not supporting Harris. Now, let me to put the discussion in context. The black population vote, overwhelmingly for Democrats, and essentially the black population vote at a rate of just over 70%, 68, 70% of the black population will turn out for an election. And then on top of that, more than 85% of the black population usually votes for the Democratic candidate. Now, 15% in an election, 15% of a voting group in an election that is deemed to be close. And from all of the comments that I've heard, there will be none closer than this particular election. Granted, we heard the same argument in 2020, but let's take it at face value. This one close. Now, here's the rub. The Americans gave women the right to vote just a little over 104 years ago, right? America has been participating in this presidential election business for the better part of the last 235 years. And so this is the context that I believe we need to look at this thing from. This is going to be the 59th election on the basis of those numbers. Now, again, this is a country where misogyny it can be high, right? There is a pretense and everybody will talk about things. Essentially, a lot of men in America believe that women's place, by and large, is in the kitchen and the bedroom. I call it as it is, right? And so even though women represent the larger mass of poll workers and in terms of their involvement in rolling out the political process, women who is counted at 51.2%. They represent 51.2% of the American population. Women are significantly underrepresented in American politics. Of the 500 and odd members of the U.S. Congress, only 29% of that number are women, right? This is despite the fact that over 51% of the population of Americans are women, 29%. So that underrepresentation basically opens it up. Now, in spite of the fact that America has been involved in this electoral process, presidential election process for the last 230 odd years, the women only got the right to vote in 104 years ago, right? And so in that 104 years, Kamala Harris represents the second woman. It's only twice in that 104 years have a major political party nominated a woman to run for the top office. Hillary Clinton had this distinction in 2016, and although she won the popular vote, she never made it. Now, the choice in this election it can't be more ghastly than what we have here. 30 odd times convicted criminal, call him that, because that's what it is. He has been convicted of a raft of crimes, right? Versus a half black, half Indian woman who currently occupies the position of the vice president of the United States of America, none other than Kamala Harris. And so that is it is essentially what the choice element is. Now, we who live here recognize what a Trump presidency looked like. We have had 4 years of it. We have had another 5 years of just all kind of chaos that he represents. We know who Trump is, and I think it's against this background and the reality of how close he once again stands to getting back into the seat of American politics, why Obama may have gotten up and taken this position. Because if 12% of the black vote goes the other way, or if, let's take the argument that 70% of the black vote turns out to vote, that means that there is a good 26% of voters who are not going anywhere, who are not participating in the election. And essentially, these are comments that were raised to get the attention of the particular ethnic groups. This is a group that you know, as a black man and a black man myself, you would figure that from a political standpoint, you want to address them directly. Is it that Obama is trying to diss black men? I don't think so. But of course there is a group that has jumped out to say, you know, the politics don't represent the interests of black men. Well, if the politics don't represent the interests of black men, how do you propose to change it? You certainly can't realize the change that you want unless you participate, right? And then most certainly, if you are looking for change that will redound to the betterment of your own black racial group, you certainly wouldn't want to be voting for the Kamala Harris's opponent. And then there is another set of arguments that are being represented. You know, there are, in fact, I'm looking at an article that was published here by the Brookings.edu, and an article written by Rashawn Ray and Keon Gilbert, who talks about black men feeling frustrated by Obama's comments, as they see it as an oversimplification of their complex political concerns. Here's the problem. If you don't participate, you can't change nothing, right? And so to sit down on your backside and believe that, boy, the thing now really represent we, and so how we are going to make this thing change, that don't make no sense. The reality is that there are a clutch of people who are Republicans, die-hard Republicans, who have decided that in the context of what is at stake, they are casting their vote. Certainly, I know how the politics work. You cast a vote for Harris at the top of the ticket, and of course, these Republicans, they're going to vote Republican at the bottom of the ticket. Anyway, but to say that our problems are so complex that we can't see the problems being addressed that Miss Harris can't address, or the Democratic Party is not addressing our problems. Is the other side addressing it? We have a situation where, you know, the racism is not covert anymore, it's overt. And so here is an opportunity to change the status quo, to elect at least a candidate that is articulating a policy framework, because our opponent is not doing that. Our opponent has gotten away with murder electorally, if you will, because she's being held to a standard that is different than her opponent. And so if she wink her eye is a criticism. Everything. In fact, one of the criticism that I've heard a lot of these quote unquote, you know, black educated speakers is that we're not even sure if she's black, because which buys into the argument because of our Jamaican Indian heritage. You know, so for me, the question is, was or is Obama being taken out of context? I don't think so. I think that he made a very direct statement to say, here is where we are. And if we're serious about getting the change that we are looking for, here is an approach to take. It's not nuanced. It's a direct statement. Obama don't need to be speaking to any other groups. He is targeting his own racial group, but some of the same critics essentially equally criticize Barack Obama in terms of their own comfort level or understanding of his own racial origin. You know, again, I said it at the beginning of this video that one of the most complex political environment that I have ever seen in my life is right here in America. There are so many different nuances attached to this thing. But the bottom line is the presidential election is only what? A week and 2 weeks and 2 days away. And it is important that we deal with what we have to deal with, right? And stop this skittering around the fence. You can't realize change unless you put your hat in the ring and become a part of the change, part of the process of change that you see. And so, you know, it is against this background that, you know, I thought about putting this video out, and I realized, you know, something, let's get it out there. I believe that there are, you know, complex issues that impact Black people. Yeah, Barack Obama and Kamala Harris are two educated Black people. So yeah, they're the pivot of the thing. But what we really looking for is opportunities. Opportunities for, in particular, the Black population in America to have the same access that these two have. And I believe that the best way to get there is to become involved. Support them, because guess what? The option is not going to get you anywhere. And the third option of not participating in a race of this nature is one that says you're really not doing anything to help yourself. Anyway, let me hear what you think about the meeting. And you know, if you like the video, hit the like button. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, you know, take the time and put in the subscription. So as a new video land, you know, say you're front and center. But more importantly, I'd love to see your feedback in the comment section. Until then, me, same one again, Mr. B, and more time.